Sanders rips one into the night, deep into right, way out.
Moves to the right, it goes directly to Clement. Clement reverses it, and the pass goes into the end zone.
To Nick Foles.
It's a touchdown by Nick.
He scores! Pete Primo is able to win it, and the Flyers win the title.
Can he get it off? Yes! And the Sixers win it!
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of the Talkin 215 podcast. Figured I'd go with the intro today in my Kelly Green. I am Scooter McGilly 1, a.k.a. Joey K, and you all know the host with the most, Jakey B. Jake, what's going on, brother?
Hey, Joey, absolute pleasure and honor to be on with you. Couldn't be happier.
I love it, man. Coming fresh off the Jordan Mailata interview, man. So I know you're pretty happy. I know you're pretty stoked to get onto this next episode. And you know, we're not doing peaks and valleys here. We're going to keep the momentum going.
Oh yeah.
So we got a hell of a show today. Obviously, we're going to keep the theme going with Eagles players. So why don't you talk to the people? Let them know what we got in store right now.
Oh yeah, coming right up with us, we got my man Mark McMillian, Eagles, Chiefs legend. Looking at his stats all week, really looking at that 92 Eagles draft class. He out of 12 rounds, he is the only player that was a real big contributor for the team. He had more games than every other player in the Eagles draft that year combined. And they got that kind of talent in the 10th round. It's incredible. Can't wait to talk to him all about that, all about his career and all the wonderful achievements he had. All Madden player, had a season with 3 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, and a fumble recovery. Pro Bowl snub. I mean, we're going to get into a whole lot of stuff, and I can't wait to really hear what he's been getting into post-career. I know he's been super active. You follow him on Twitter. He's definitely a must follow at Mark McMillian. But he's been definitely getting really active on there. Really looking forward to hearing what his post-career endeavors have been.
Absolutely. And like Jake was just saying, we were going through the draft prior to the show in 1992. If you guys want to have some fun, just go to like 1990 to 1992. Go to your team's draft. You can even go to the Eagles. I mean, there's more than 7 rounds back then, but I mean, you can even play a drinking game. You know, take a shot every time you recognize somebody's name.
And we say every time you recognize it, because if you take a shot every time you don't recognize it, we would not endorse that kind of binge drinking.
No, not at all. And I'll give you just an idea of how funny it was. The Eagles took 2 running backs in the first 4 rounds, didn't have a first-round pick for whatever reason. Nobody knows why, and then drafted a punter right after. So it was the NFL draft today has come a long way. Let's just put it that way.
No, most certainly. Look, like we said, didn't hit on a lot of them, but certainly hit on our, tonight's guest of honor. Really looking forward. I mean, I remember my dad. I was just born the last year he was in Philadelphia, and he had a good career, great career, really. Through mostly known for Eagles and Chiefs, a few different stints with the Saints, with the Redskins, and I believe he had a small stint. I believe it might have been with the Niners. I'll look into that, but mostly known as an Eagles and Chiefs player. And my dad used to tell me stories about all the time, like, because obviously I'm not the tallest individual. I'm not, but, competitor at heart. And yes, it was the Niners. Looked into that. And my dad always would just tell me about Mighty Mouse, how this guy would be out there. And you'd think, and a lot of offensive coordinators were like, oh, matchup nightmare, we got this. And the guy was just a ball hawk. Really brought the lumber too in some situations, but just stuck to wide receivers like glue. You had absolutely no room to make any kind of mistake, and really just a true technical corner. Really did just a great job sticking to him and contesting passes and making life really difficult for a lot of receivers in the NFL.
Yeah, I wish we can clone a Mark McMillian and have him on the team right now, to be honest
with
you.
No kidding. Well, hey, no better time to have Mark McMillian hop on than the present. Here he is, ladies and gentlemen, the guest of honor, Mighty Mouse himself, Mark McMillian. Mark, welcome to Talkin 215. We are ecstatic to have you on, brother.
Oh man, I appreciate you guys working with me, man. I know we've been going back and forth through our DMs and trying to figure out the best time, but I definitely appreciate you guys having me on.
Oh, we are honored, and it's a privilege to have you on, man.
Absolutely. Joe? Yeah, Mark, thanks so much for coming on, man. Like, And I love how you just went with Mark as your name there. Like, we know who you are. We don't need the last name. We're on a first name basis now with you. So we're good to go. You happen to jump on at the right time too, because we were just talking about the NFL draft. It's coming up. And for those of you who don't remember, the NFL draft was more than 7 rounds. And Mark, you were taken in the 10th round of the NFL draft. So for a lot of us that are used to the NFL draft and the spectacle that it is today, walk us through what it was like waiting for that phone call or just hearing your name or however it was in the 10th round. Tell me what that day was like, those days, and how it went about for you.
Well, it took a lot of days, it was a lot of days that, obviously, playing at the University of Alabama was all SEC. So I'm thinking like, I'm going to have a pretty good shot at getting drafted, maybe, 5th or 6th round, just trying to be realistic because I know a lot of people looked at me because of my size and my stature. But me, man, I had a great coach in Coach Gene Stallings at the University of Alabama, who coached in the NFL with the Dallas Cowboys as well. So, I learned not just the way to play the game the correct way, but just the mental aspect of the game and what goes with the game. And like I said, it took, I think it was like 3 or 4 days. And, I know Saran Stacy, he was at Alabama with me, the late, great Kevin Turner. He was at Alabama with me as well. And those guys are getting drafted. They're having parties. I went to Geneva, Alabama with Saran Stacy to have his draft party. And, we're driving back to Tuscaloosa. He's like, man, haven't called your name yet. Obviously, we didn't have cell phones. We have beepers and pagers back then. And, so I just sat at home in my dorm room. And, it was frustrating. But, I knew I put in enough body of good work. When we had our pro day at Alabama, I ran a 4.24. My vertical was 42 inches. So I put up some really good numbers to put on paper. So it's not like they could just use my size as an disadvantage to me. So I just waited my turn, man. And I think it was probably like the 3rd or 4th day, the studios, ESPN studios are shut down. School has resumed back to normal. ESPN has went back to playing, college basketball, so, and I saw my name go across the ticker, and I was like, come on, there's no way. And then, the coach from the Philadelphia Eagles call, it was Peter Junta. He's my defensive back coach. And he said, hey, we want to draft you, in the 10th round. And I'm thinking like, my boys were playing jokes on me. So I hung up the phone. And so, the ticker goes back around again. I see my name go across the ticker to the Philadelphia Eagles. And he calls back. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry. I just had a bad connection on my phone, and he was like, yeah, we want to draft you in the 10th round by the Philadelphia Eagles. And, everybody knows back then the Eagles were loaded already, on the defensive side of the ball. They had, Eric Allen was on one side. You had Ben Smith, who was a really good cornerback until he got hurt. So they had Wes Hopkins, Andre Waters, Jerome Brown. They just coming off the #1 defensive side on every category that year before under Bud Carson. And, I walk in the locker room and there I see Reggie White. He walks up. I had all my suitcases. I had one suit in college. So I brought that one flannel suit. It was probably like, you probably get that suit for like $60. It wasn't a lot of money. And
hey, but you were looking good.
He's like, whose little kid is this in our locker room? Yeah, the minister said that. But me, I was a hothead kid from LA, man. I said some things I shouldn't have said to a preacher that day.
So, Mark, you're serious when you're saying you were just hanging out in your dorm and you happened to see the ticker go across. That's how the first time that you saw that you were drafted?
Yeah, that's the first time I saw it. And I'm thinking like, there's got to be another McMillian. There's no way. It was just so frustrating. Like I said, when I got the first call, I hung up, and then obviously seeing the ticker go back around and getting that call from the Philadelphia Eagles, man, it was a blessing, man, because you 5'7", 145 pounds to even get drafted. Whether it's the first round or 11th round. They even drafted a punter before me, Pumpy Tudors.
Oh, we were looking.
We were just talking about
Pumpy Tudors before me. I was like, who the hell is Pumpy Tudors?
Well, now you'll always remember that name, and now we'll always remember that name as a result. But we're glad that they took you in the 10th round for sure.
Oh, without a doubt. No, we like you said, we were looking through the '92 Eagles draft class, and we saw Saran Stacy. I'm sure you guys just immediately clicked right back in the same locker room, or in a
Mhm.
different locker room, but you're both in the locker room. And I'm sure there was a lot of trash talk there between both of y'all. I'm sure, like you said, the minister came and trash talk you right at the beginning. Look, we all played sports, obviously, not at a professional level and all, but we know trash talk is something that's pretty prevalent throughout all sports. And you got an inch or two on me. And I know golf is a lot different than football, but I know I used to, compete in golf pretty competitively all around the nation, all. And I would say at least 80% of the time, somebody would make some kind of crack about my height, right on the first tee, some kind of crack about my height. And I'd be like, all right, go ahead, go hit your shot. They'd hit a nice drive, 270 down the middle or something. I'd get up there, pump that thing 310 right down the center. And I'd go right up to him.
He just said 310. He just threw it out there. I just pumped this 310 down the center.
Oh yeah. And I get right up close to him to really accentuate the difference in height. And I'd look up at him and go, man, imagine what I could do if I was as tall as you. No, and like, shoot, I love to hear that you just got right after him. The minister of defense, you jumped right after him. You got that Mighty Mouse mentality right at the beginning. I was telling you in the DMs when I was growing up, my dad, I was born the last season that you were playing in Philadelphia, so I didn't get to watch you play live. But my dad, I remember all the time, he used to tell me just about Mark McMillian, Mighty Mouse. You were one of his favorite cornerbacks. He's tuned into the show right now. He's been looking forward to it all week.
What's going on, Pops? What's going on, Pops?
Now, and he was telling me all the time, just like, man, he would play like you wouldn't believe. So many people that didn't watch the sport that I'd have over to watch the games be like, oh man, like what's this matchup nightmare? And then they just see how you stuck to the receiver like glue and just contested every pass. And you really made it tough on a lot of people and shut a lot of people up right off the bat. It's a real testament to the type of player you are and the type of man that you are.
I definitely appreciate that, man. I'll slide you some money in your DMs for all those nice little things that you said about me, man.
Look, man, just keep sliding the
there
spices,
we go.
man. That's all I need. We're gonna get into them. We're gonna get into them in a minute. Joey, I know you have another really good question.
Yeah, I mean, Mark, as Jake was just talking about, with size, height, and stature, it didn't matter how fast you were, all SEC, how high you jumped.
4 kind of matters, though. I'll tell you what.
I agree.
I'll tell you what.
I agree. And, I was talking with Jake earlier, and I was thinking to myself, what better team to be drafted by than the city of Philadelphia, where they have Allen Iverson, who's small and undersized, where they're always the underdogs, where Rocky Balboa was an underdog and small and everything like that, where it's about proving yourself to somebody. So they call it the fighting city, obviously, and you had to fight your way to make an NFL roster, to stay on an NFL roster, and to compete at a high level. Where did you get that from? Where did you get that drive? Where did you get that fight? Did you have it all your life? Is it something that came out of sports or something in your life? Because I know with your size, the odds are kind of stacked against you. So where did you get that fight to keep going and proving everybody wrong? Where did that come from?
I would say my grandparents and my mom, and obviously, growing up in a house with 8 people, and somebody ain't getting no meal at night. It was kind of greasy. So you had to be real fast in the kitchen to get your meal. So we always had to fight.
Where the 4-2-4 came into effect
in the inner city in LA. And, a lot of people don't realize I didn't play high school. I didn't play football until my senior year of high school.
Wow.
And, I went on to play junior college at Glendale Junior College for 2 years. And then, went on to the University of Alabama. But like I said, man, just a tough mind mentality. I had a great, supporting cast with my grandparents, who you guys see that I named my spices after. So that's how much it means to me. Obviously my mom, my mom actually is the one that pushed me to play football. Because I was real small. I was smaller than what I was then. And she was like, you're always talking about how good you are. And she's like, well, this is your last year of school. We don't have money to send you to college. So maybe you should go out there and try to get a scholarship or try to help yourself out, keep yourself out of trouble, keep yourself away from the gangs and the drugs. And, I went out for my senior year and, end up making the team and starting the last couple of games. My senior year, it was exciting. And, I was a track guy, so I went on and ran track, and that's what I really went to junior college for, to run track, not even to play football.
Wow.
So it all turned out to be be a blessing. But like I said, I give a lot of credit to a lot of guys in my neighborhood, obviously my family, for staying behind me and being, like you said, being drafted by the Eagles, man. I was so hyped. Once I really figured out, like, man, and you walk in the locker room and you see a Jerome Brown, a Randall Cunningham, Byron Evans. Our team was loaded with guys, and just to be a part of that. And I wasn't there just to fit in. I wanted to make the team, and I told those guys, I didn't come here just to be a practice dummy. I'm going to make the team. And they were like, "You're not going to make the team." I always remember Dirty Waters always like, "You're not going to make the team." And then, Fred Barnett, we go one-on-one every single day. And I always talk to Fred, and I thank him all the time, because going against Fred every day in practice was like a game for me. And, back then, Fred was one of the top receivers in the game as well. And, he helped me out tremendously just with my confidence, being physical with Fred, because he was a big physical receiver. And, just things just started playing out. I think I was like number 6 or 7 on the depth chart. You had Ben, you had Izell. That was somebody dropping off a package. Yeah. You had Ben Smith, you had Izell Jenkins, Corey Barlow, who they drafted, I think, like in the 4th or 5th round out of Auburn, John Booty, Otis Smith. So I was like the bottom of the barrel. And, I just had to work my way up. Guys just wasn't getting the job done, and continue to get better and work on my craft and take it seriously. And I ended up getting a starting out my rookie year.
That's excellent.
That's incredible. That's incredible. And am I correct that it was your rookie or your sophomore season that you made the All Madden team?
It was my rookie year.
Yeah.
And, that was mind-boggling to me as well. And, I know Fred made the team that year, Reggie White, Keith Byers, Eric Allen, of course.
You went right up to Reggie White and said, "Who's your little kid now?" Huh?
And all those guys are walking in with their Zubaz pants, and they get their sweatshirt. And I'm thinking, like, man, that's really cool, because all we did was play Madden after practice in the locker room. And, he used to come to the games, and it was like, man, that's John Madden. And, obviously I had a show called The Little Big Man Show. I saw somebody, talk about that earlier in some of the comments. We had a Little Big Man Show, so the cameras are coming in. I'm wondering, like, why are the cameras in here filming me? So, Seth and Keith hands me my All Madden sweatshirt and my Zubaz pants, and I'm thinking, like, no way. And, obviously being selected to the All Madden team, you saw after he passed away, some of the greatest guys to play the game that make that team. It was more rewarding to me to make that team, I think, than a lot of guys will probably say than making the Pro Bowl at that time.
Oh, yeah. No, incredible honor. And again, just shows the heart, shows that just, fighter dog mentality that they still use today. And you possess it, man. You've always possessed it. And it shows in the award with the All Madden. It shows on the score sheet. I mean, I always knew an idea of the type of player you were, but, looking really just into the statistical numbers of what you're able to put up. Obviously that 97 season with the Chiefs really comes to mind. Tell me this, how the heck did you not make a Pro Bowl that year? I mean, I'm looking at it. I'm looking at 8 picks, 3 touchdowns, forced fumble recovery, not on the Pro Bowl. And both cornerbacks on your team made it ahead of you, and you had more than them combined.
Was
it just as much of a popularity contest back then as it is now?
When they made the announcement, I know Marty made the announcement. Dale Carter and James Hasty was the other corners that made it. But they did a really good gesture, man. I know Dale and James, they put things together. They put their funds together. They said, man, there's no way that you should not be celebrating in Hawaii with me, with us. So they paid for me, my mom, my brothers and sisters to go to Hawaii that weekend to go to the Pro Bowl. So I was still there. And obviously, you're in the club with the guys. I'm in there with Andre Rison and Derek Thomas and everybody, as a player, it felt good, but it was also like, man, I should be here, because everybody that was there is like, dude, we don't know how you did not make the Pro Bowl. Like, you're leading the league in pretty much every category. But, it is what it is. I still had an opportunity to, enjoy the festivities with the guys. It was like I made it to the Pro Bowl, but I didn't play in the game. So James Hasty and Daryl Carter, like I said, man, they put their funds together, and flew me and my mom and brothers and sisters out there. So I still had a really good time.
That's awesome. That is a cool story.
No, it certainly is. And no, I'm with him. How, I don't know how in the world you didn't make it. Was it just as much? I know nowadays it's really a popularity contest, especially with how much fan voting there is. Was it kind of more of a household name competition back then as it is now? Is that I feel like that might have played a little bit into what kept you out of there, even though obviously you should have been a household name with the level of play you're putting out there. But was it kind of more of a popularity contest then, similar to how it is now?
I think it wasn't as much. Obviously, you know,
social media today really plays a big
The players
factor.
had a little bit more juice in the voting. Now the fans don't have any juice. Everybody's thinking they're voting in their best player. The fans don't have any juice. You know, but back then, it's almost like the Eric Allen effect. You know, why is not Eric Allen in the Hall of Fame? And you know, you go back to that, and every team I went to after that, you know, people really didn't like me. You know, because playing in Philadelphia, we didn't give a crap about anybody. You know, we came out there, we tried to punch people in the mouth. We didn't make excuses. We didn't help anybody up. We wasn't friends with anybody. We didn't hang out with any other teammates. And every team I went to, whether it's a quarterback, is like, man, we hated playing against you guys. Whether it's New Orleans, when I went to San Francisco with Steve Young, he's like, thank God we got you on our team. He's like, we hated playing against you guys. And, you know, and I just knew, and I just kind of say the same effect to Eric Allen playing in that era. You know, people did not like the Philadelphia Eagles and the style of play that we played. We never won a Super Bowl, but every time we stepped on the field, you knew you were going to be in a battle.
Yeah. I love that. I love that mentality. I really do. It kind of embodies what Philadelphia is about, too.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to be a street fight. I love
the whole punch you in the mouth, not help you back up. It's the whole Broad Street Bullies going over to the Flyers. That's thing. We're gonna beat you down.
It was my rookie year. We were playing against the Giants. I remember this. We're coming out of the tunnel, and we were in front of the linebacker group for the Giants. So they had Banks, Reason, Lawrence Taylor, and you know, obviously being a rookie, this is my first time really seeing these guys live and knowing I'm getting the opportunity to play. I'm excited. And I turn around and I said it out loud too. I was like, man, that's Lawrence Taylor. And then Andre Waters just punched me in the throat. he was like, we don't give a about no Lawrence Taylor. He's like, don't you ever get excited about seeing another guy in another uniform. And you know, that mentality. Even we played against the Cowboys one time, and I reached down after making a tackle to help Emmitt Smith up. Who was there to push me off the pile? Andre Waters. They say by any means necessary, we never help anybody up, especially the Cowboys. So every time I, you know, try to do anything, you know, kind of be nice, they embedded in me to just be a jerk, just because nobody liked you anyway. So I just always took that mentality. Obviously, playing against the Cowboys so many times, I see Michael Irvin, you know, he's a good guy now. But back then, man, we hated those guys, and we really didn't like those guys. And it was genuine. Like, if we saw those guys in the offseason, it would have turned into a fist fight. Now these guys are swapping jerseys. They're dancing. They're taking pictures before they get on the plane with their chains, looking all nice. I was like, no, dude, you guys are in a freaking dogfight. Like, it's war out there. And you see the teams that's still in the playoffs, and you look at the way they play defense on their side of the ball. It's old school, get in your mouth, smack you in the face. Obviously, the Chiefs play a little bit softer. The Bengals really get after it. The Rams really get after it. I like Jalen Ramsey because he's a physical corner that would get up in your face and challenge you. I really like that. I like what the Eagles did late in the season about matching Slay up against the best receiver late in the season and just letting him be the guy that we drafted him for and paid all that money for. Yeah. And it paid off for us.
Oh, yeah. Obviously, he had an incredible season this year. We know how absolutely valuable your time is, and we thank you so much for all of it. Just two more quick questions, then we really want to hear what you've been getting into post-career, because I know I've personally been enjoying it on my taste buds. But, I mean, you've already given us some incredible stories, but what's the story that always just kind of comes to mind, or doesn't always come to mind, one that you haven't shared a ton, just about your time back in Philadelphia, like a locker room or a teammate, or even something with a teammate from the time that happened post-career? But what's a great story you can share to our listeners that would love to hear about you playing, like you said, with some absolute legends, much like yourself, on that 92 to 94, 95 Eagles team?
Yeah, I would say probably, getting the opportunity to play my first live action as a corner against the San Francisco 49ers. And, you know, we had, I'm not going to say his name. I'm not going to call him out, but he was in front of me. You know, it was that week of practice, you know, Bud Carson said there's an opportunity that you might play in this game. And I'm thinking like, man, there's Jerry Rice, there's Steve Young, there's John Taylor, you know, there's Tom Rathman, you know, they were loaded, you know, they were loaded, always loaded. And obviously that guy wasn't getting the job done that was in front of me. I remember Byron Evans calling a timeout, and it was a crucial game. We're battling with these guys. Randall's going crazy. Steve Young is, you know, going crazy. Jerry Rice just caught a touchdown for one of the umpteenth records that he held. And in my mind, I'm thinking like to myself, because my mom and everybody came down to a Candlestick. And I was like, okay, if I get in the game, don't let Jerry score that touchdown on you, because you're going to be on ESPN for the rest of your life at one of his highlights. And when he caught that touchdown, I was pissed. But in the back of my mind, I was like, "Ooh, thank God that wasn't against me." And, you know, I got an opportunity. Byron Evans calls a timeout in a crucial situation. And Bud Carson never called me by my name for the 2 years he was there. He always called me 29. So he looks at me. He's like, 29, you ready? And I'm thinking like, yeah, I'm ready. Like, let's go. And he's like, nah, I don't think you're ready yet. And I'm thinking like, come on. So we go back out there, and Jerry's just going crazy, just catching hitches and slants. And Byron Evans calls another timeout. And everybody's like, B, what are you doing? So he's like, get this dude out of here. He said, put the rookie in. He said, well, he can't do no worse. And, you know, Bud Carson said, hey, 2-9, get in there. I hear Jerry Rice, you know, he jogs by. He's like, oh, this is the rookie everybody's been talking about. He's like, oh, this is going to be fresh meat. And, of course, you know, that South Central LA mentality clicked in. And I said some things that I can't say to your listeners. But, you know, I was nervous. Obviously, Eric Allen was on one side, and I knew they were coming at me. Jerry Rice catches a slant, and he goes for like 20 yards. And I'm thinking like, God dang it. And then he catches a hitch, and it's probably like 2-yard gain, and I drag his leg, and I throw his shoe. I took his shoe off, and I threw his shoe. And I got a 15-yard penalty. So I gave up like 30-something yards in 2 plays, and I go to the huddle, and I'm thinking like Reggie White and all those guys are going to be like, but they were tapping me on the head as like, that's what we need. That's what we're talking about. Somebody that's going to get up there and challenge this dude and not be afraid to play. And from that on, I think we lost by 3 points, but Jerry and John Taylor, I don't think they caught another pass after that series, because I was so locked in and got the confidence from the guys. And I was like, man, you're here. Like, you know, this is it. This is your time. And, you know, from then on out, I started for the rest of my career in Philly.
Wow. That's awesome. That's awesome. Oh, man. Throwing the shoe, locking it down. I love it. I love it.
Cost a lot of penalty yards, though. A lot of penalty yards.
Hey, but it got you going, because it got the rest of your teammates to be like, all right, there we go.
Yeah.
There we go. And then you were right in there. It brought your confidence.
I got something for one of your listeners, man. I got some gear, man. I'm gonna give out to one of your guys. I got that Mighty Mouse T-shirt there.
Oh man,
I got you, man. So
that's
I'm
beautiful.
send this out to you guys, man. Y'all can rock that, man. So I'm gonna show y'all again.
Oh,
that's that Kelly Green Mighty Mouse T-shirt right there, man.
I love it. I love it, Mark.
Yes.
That's why I had to put on the throwback for you today. Too,
I see that. I like that. I like
the
that.
Kelly Green for you,
So
man. That shirt's beautiful. I love it.
I'll make sure I'll send you guys out one of each, man.
oh, thank you.
Oh man, thank you so much. Seriously.
Thank you, Joey. I know you got one more before we really get into what he's been up to.
Well, I mean, with me, it's funny because you mentioned the Alabama connection there, and we're seeing with the 2022 Eagles coming in, 2021 Eagles, there's a huge Alabama connection. If you look at Landon Dickerson, Devontae Smith, even Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
Does that make you, I don't want to say root harder, but does that like kind of tug at you a little bit and say, all right, we got the Bama to Philly connection going. I can root for these guys. Is that nice to see nowadays?
Yeah, it's really good to see. And it's all over the league now. You know, Bama players are going out it's like every time you turn on the TV, it's an Alabama player doing something. So I just wish we in Philadelphia draft an Alabama linebacker. Can we please get an Alabama linebacker? The last linebacker we had was D'Amico Ryans, you know, and he did a really good job for us. And that was it. You know, we haven't had a steady linebacker play in years. And I know Seth hits on it all the time.
He does.
On his podcast about linebacker play. You know, we had Willie T, Byron Evans, Seth Joyner. You know, our linebackers were loaded. And, you know, those guys can cover. And they can hit you in the mouth at the same time. Now it's like our linebacker play is so soft. I'm like, come on. Can we get somebody with a dog mentality? You even see it at the wide receivers position with Devontae Smith. Later on in the season, guys start rallying around him on the bench, asking him questions, and he's giving feedback. So, and it showed in his play. You know, that guy is tough as nails, man. He's going to be special. We just need somebody to get on the other side and help him out, because I don't know what the hell Rager is out there doing. They need to just cut the ties. You know, it just didn't work out. And, you know, we're just going to move on to somebody else that can help out Devontae Smith, because he can't do it alone, because next year he's going to see a lot more double teams.
You're right. Couldn't agree more. Mark, we can bring you back for our draft and free agency podcast, man, because you're hitting the nail on the head with all that.
Oh, no, just killing it. Just killing it. And like I said, not the only thing he's killing it with. I mean, like I said, I got your spices here. Got the Boom 3.0 right here.
Yeah.
The suiting and booting.
Yeah.
And then I got the Clara. So tomorrow, like I told you in the tweet, I got some real nice 80-20.
Oh, don't forget about the Sweet Heat barbecue, baby.
Oh, I know Joey. I know Joey's got some in the mail coming to him in the mail.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So like I said in the tweet, I got some nice 80-20. I think you said go with the Boom 3.0 for that.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. So we got the Boom 3.0 going on that. I'm just going to I've been talking way too much already, because every time you talk, we're laughing. It's phenomenal. So I'm just going to kind of open the floor to you, because I know our listeners love cooking just as much as they love the birds. So you just go ahead and take the floor, man.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys giving me the platform, man. And everybody that's out there, if you're a griller, if you're a cook, if you want to give somebody something, a nice little gift, what's special about it, you'll see on the back of the label, it's the Lift logo on that. That's a foundation that we have created as well for young men who have been getting harassed and bullied. And we created that in the Philadelphia area, obviously, because I have strong ties still back east. And, you know, 25% from every sale I donate back to our Lift program. So, and you know, cooking and filling it, you're actually making a difference in a lot of kids' lives as well. So that's real personal. And you know, obviously, with the story you read on the label, Cooking with Clara was named after my grandmother, my late grandmother. Suiting and Booting was named after my late granddad, because our older generation, they're always nice suiting and tie. And you know, the Boom 3.0, as you can see, it's the Kelly green color. So that's I'm paying homage to my guys over there in Philadelphia, and also the barbecue sauce. So I have a steak rub that's coming out as well pretty soon, and you know, some of the proceeds that's going to go to battered women and abused women. So we're going to donate 25 cents from every purchase of my new steak seasoning. That's going to be named after my mom. She don't know it yet, so I don't know if she's tuned in, but I'm going to name it after my mom. And then we have a special ribbon on there for domestic violence. And we're going to donate 25 cents back to the domestic violence women's and men's shelter as well. So when you look on that bottle, you say, hey, it's a great seasoning, but also know that you're making a difference in young men and young women's lives as well.
That's I mean, I would buy it just for that. I would buy it just solely for that. And Mark, tell everybody where we can find these products.
You can go on my website at grillandmcmillian.com. There's a lot of stuff on there. There's my merchandise. There's signed autograph photos. There's helmets on there. There you go. And you know, I just launched some more merchandise. I sent that out on the tweet as well. I got the All Madden shirts and the All Madden hoodies that just came out, that just dropped. You know, I got the Grill and McMillian apparel. I got some faith-based apparel as well. So there's a lot of stuff that you can go out there and get, man, and support. And like I said, every time I make a purchase from wherever I do, I always donate back to the foundation. So this summer, I'm looking to do a lot of good things back in Philadelphia, hosting football camps, as well as Grill and McMillian pop-up events in Philadelphia. So stay tuned for that.
Oh, yeah.
A really good conversation with Trogues Brewery up there in Hershey, Pennsylvania.
Oh, yeah.
So stay tuned for some really exciting things that we're going to be doing up at Trogues.
That's awesome. No, Trogues Brewery is an incredible spot, and
yeah,
just adding you to it is only going to just absolutely elevate it and all. So with the Lift Foundation, is there a specific website or anything that people can go to donate to any of these organizations directly, without, you know, if they wanted to, obviously, they need to go out and get these spices, get these rubs. But if they wanted to go out and donate directly to any of these organizations, what would the best way for them to go about?
I would just say go on my website, GorillaMcMillian.com, because we do have the Lyft logo on there. You just click on that Lyft logo and you can make a donation. It could be 25 cents. It could be $1. It could be whatever it is. We're not looking to drain a lot of people. We know times are tough for a lot of people, but every donation, every penny that you guys that they donate, is very appreciative. And like I said, man, my heart and soul goes into this. Everything I do, man, every time I put my name or something on it, I back it 100%. Just like I played the game, man. I'm all in, and I'm not taking no for an answer. I'm not afraid to go up to a business or anybody and say, hey, would you like to make a donation to our foundation? So anything we can do, especially in the Philadelphia area, man, it's really tough, especially in the inner city, with the killings and murders that's going on, man, it's really tough. And it's heartbreaking for me because that's a city that took a 19-year-old kid in and embraced me. And, they didn't like me at first. They booed me and all that. But like I said, I just stayed with it and became, really engraved in the community. And obviously, like you said, that mentality of Philadelphia, the underdog, never give up. I knew every time I stepped on that field in the vet, there was going to be a kid in the stands that was probably going to be like, who is this kid everybody's talking about that's 5'7", 147 pounds? Everybody wants to see Randall. But I knew there was some dad or some mom to be like, you've got to go to a game to see this guy everybody's talking about.
Oh, yeah.
And, I knew that going into the game, and I consciously made an effort to never give up on the play because I knew somebody paid a lot of money to go into that vet to watch us play. And I didn't want to be the guy that somebody said, hey, that guy gave up, or a kid was so excited to see the small guy and I didn't do as well as I did. So I always tried to, go above and beyond for the fans off the field as well.
Love that. Absolutely love everything about it.
Absolutely love it. And Mark, just as someone, I've lived a blessed life, but as someone that's personally dealt with a lot of bullying through middle school, high school, and such, and just to show appreciation for you, big number 29, Philadelphia legend. Talking to him 5 is going to Lyft, and we're donating $129 over to the Lyft organization. It's a wonderful, wonderful organization. It's doing absolutely incredible work. Obviously, we're going to continue to support the Grill.
I'm about to squeeze the helmet on for that one, man. I got the
always ready with that.
Yeah. I'm about to squeeze the helmet on for that one, baby.
I love
Let's go.
Let's go. We love our grilling.
I had
we
to
love
squeeze
cooking.
the old school helmet on there for that one.
I love it. So we're going to continue to get these spices. As soon as we're out of one, we're definitely going to have to re-up, but we definitely wanted to go ahead and make a donation to Lyft. I did a lot of research on it prior to having you on. I want to make sure I do my due diligence. And
thank you very much for that, man.
It's a wonderful organization.
You guys out some gear. I got some shirts. I got shirts and hats that came out said, "Don't stop bullying." So I have a whole little campaign that I'll be launching, but I'll make sure I'll get you guys out these Mighty Mouse Kelly green t-shirts too, man. I appreciate you guys having me on. You guys do a great job with your show. Continued success. If you guys need any help on my end when I'm back in Philadelphia, man, I'd love to chop it up with you guys.
Oh, that would be it would be absolutely a dream come true. Literally, my dad has, I believe at the moment we have five grills and a smoker in the backyard.
There we go.
And so he would love to hear anything and everything from Grillin' McMillian himself.
Maybe we do a pop-up Grillin' McMillian tailgate event there, man.
We'll
just roll in and we'll just invite the neighborhood to come on out, man. We'll have a nice little party.
Oh yeah, have a whole block party. Invite anybody and everybody. Come on down and feast up with the legend himself. My goodness, that sounds like an absolute dream come true. Mark, I can't thank you enough for everything, for coming on the pod and for everything you're doing for Philadelphia and for just communities around the country. It's really,
I appreciate you
really
guys having me on, man. You guys do a great job.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
Joey?
We appreciate it, man.
All right. See you guys later, man.
Oh yeah. You have a great one.
Go Birds.
Go Birds. My goodness. How special is that?
I mean, look, you got to like the guy because he gave his heart and soul to Philadelphia. 10th round pick, proving the odds wrong. Mighty Mouse, smaller than everybody, still having to fight harder than anybody. And then on top of that, his endeavors off the field, and not just what he does off the field, but never forgetting where he came from, seeing the struggle in the inner city, seeing the bullying, seeing, domestic violence when he grew up, and making sure when he had a platform, when he had a voice, life after football, he put that to good use to give back to that. So, I mean, honestly, you can't say enough about the guy as a football player, but even more as a person for what he's doing. Growing with McMillian, everybody go to it. Get some spices, get some memorabilia, get whatever you can, and just know that all the proceeds go to a great cause. So,
I mean, 25%.
What an interview, what a guy, what a product.
25%. I mean, when have you heard of that?
I haven't. I mean,
when have you heard of a company giving 25% of proceeds to a charity that they're benefiting?
Jake, we sit here. We haven't been able to talk about the Phillies in so long because there's a lockout in baseball because the billionaire owners don't want to lose like a half a penny on the dollar for some things. And here you have a guy that's not a billionaire that is constantly giving back to charities and everything like that. It just puts things into perspective for you about good guys and bad guys. And Mark McMillian is definitely at the top of the good guy list.
No, I mean, like you said, we're not doing peaks and valleys. This whole week, we've just been hitting peaks and peaks and peaks and just continue to grow higher. And it really just comes down to just the level of people we're having on the pod. Like,
Absolutely.
Obviously, we love bringing exclusive content. We love being, top Philadelphia for 4for4 podcast, providing content you're not going to find anywhere else. But it really comes down to just the people we're having on. Like, it's great that they're players. But, I mean, you were involved in the Mailata interview. Obviously, we're having him back on to be able to get you more involved and be able to really just chop it up with him again, like you said, Australian-American style.
Yeah.
So everybody listened to it. I mean, the guy was just the most genuine human being. Like, my dad, after the episode, was like, can you somehow, in a like non-creepy way, find out his parents' email address just so I can just thank them for how they raised their son, just how he was just an absolute pleasure to be around. Like, just the level of people we're having. And then on top of it, them being absolute legends themselves in the sports that they're doing just makes the content all that better.
And yeah, Jake, speaking of legends playing at the top of their game, speaking of nice guys off the field too, and just all around great guys, before we wrap up this show, we should touch on Brandon Brooks' retirement for a little bit.
100%.
Because one thing that stood out to me in his retirement speech, if any of you guys had listened to it, he was naming janitors. He was naming ex-assistant coaches, ball boys, cafeteria ladies.
Workers, yep.
Yeah. Players that were like fringe special teams guys between the Texans and Eagles that may have played just a little bit. Trainers, athletic staff, he was thanking for the time they spent with him, the conversations they had with him. Here's somebody who's been a huge advocate for mental health, probably a little bit before mental health became such a national, phenomenon with people needing help. Yep. Brandon Brooks dealt with that. You see all the Eagles players that went to social media to thank him from the bottom of their heart. Unfortunately, the injury bug, it's tough to get past, but I just wanted to say, man, how lucky we were to have Brandon Brooks as a Philadelphia Eagle, especially on that Super Bowl run we went on. Most dominant guard in the league for several years when he was healthy. And you could tell the way he carried himself in that retirement speech.
No, 100%. I listened to it when he was doing it live through the radio. 94.1 was carrying it. And I was just at a customer's house. But thankfully they were understanding because I just stayed sitting in my car and I was just like listening to every word of it. And it was just incredible. From the second he started, you knew it was just so heartfelt. He was emotional throughout just because it truly means that much to him. Especially him talking about a guy we've talked about a ton, Jeff Stoutland. And the impact that he made sure to talk about, not only the impact that he had on a player and his development, but just in his personal life as well. And just that how he's going to be a friend for life. And, all the people that he named, like you said, the janitors, cafeteria workers and all, I guarantee if they wanted to get a hold of him, they could.
Easily. Yeah.
I guarantee. And he would drop out of a hat, hey, what can I do for you? How are you? I mean, it's just
it's so cool seeing that retrospect, and Mark McMillian was just talking about it, of off the field, you could be a good person. You can be nice. On the field, you're ready to kill the guy across from you.
Yeah.
I'm not shaking your hand. I'm not helping you up. I'm actually going to, rub a little bit more dirt into it when the fact is, because that's what I'm here to do. But afterwards, when that whistle sounds, you could still be a good human being. We talk about money all the time, how much people make, how much goes to charity, how much contracts are, this and that. Can we afford this salary cap? It costs $0 to be a good human being. Zero. It's free to be a good human being. And you're seeing some of the true character of guys that we grew up idolizing, these football players, and you're seeing how good of people they are off the field too. So it's really refreshing, and it's cool that we get this platform to provide it to you as well.
Oh, 100%. And look, with all the money you're saving by being a good person, use some of that money you're saving, lift the Lyft organization. Look, I'm telling you, I did research myself. You can do research on yourself. Be sure to look into anything before you donate to it. But it's an incredible organization. Mark said a ton about it, but you can see so much more by just doing some research. Obviously, we're doing a charity drive with our M-Hop shirts with $5 of every shirt purchase. Not every purchase. You can order 5 shirts and that's $25. It's not just one purchase, $5 off of one. Obviously a great organization there. We've raised, we're just about at that $200 mark. So, something we're certainly very proud of. And couldn't have said it better myself, Joe. You really hit the nail on the head with that one. Before we wrap up, I really do, feel, I know we're kind of switching everything, but I would, be kind of remiss if we didn't mention arguably one of the greatest football weekends in NFL history this past weekend, and then just touch real quick on the games ahead. I know it's not birds, but a weekend of football like that, you can't not mention it on the pod.
I mean, yeah, they were great games, Jake, but I'll tell you what, I was frustrated putting myself in the shoes of another fan base.
Oh my gosh.
One, the Green Bay Packers. And the Green Bay Packers special teams may be the worst special teams of all time. Between the punt block for a touchdown, that punt doesn't have to go 80 yards. Just get it off. Get the punt off.
Look at Aaron Sanders.
Not afford to have a punt block touchdown. You got a field goal block. And then, Jake, not a lot of people talk about this. On the game-winning field goal that San Francisco kicked, Green Bay had 10 men on the field.
10 players on the field.
10 men on the field. Like, you're 3 for 3. That's it. Strike 3, you're out. Like, what are you doing?
And the fact that special teams coordinator still has a job is insane.
He's got to go. He's got to go. He absolutely has to go. And then I'm watching the Buffalo-Kansas City game, and, I mean, I feel so bad for Josh Allen because this guy left it all on the field. Shout out Gabe Davis, by the way, from UCF, by the way. No big deal. Setting a playoff record with 4 touchdowns. He also had over 200 yards, just absolute stud. But
on 8 catches. It's insane.
But what the hell was the Bills defense doing with 13 seconds left to let Travis Kelce run up the seam untouched? Jake, what 2 players would you be looking at for the Chiefs with 13 seconds left?
Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce.
What 2 players caught balls within that 13-second span?
Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce.
What am I missing here? What am I absolutely missing here? What is going on?
What was worse? What was worse? Cover 0 with Cooper Kupp in a tie game at the end, or whatever you want to call sidelines defense? Like, why are you trying to keep them in the middle of the field? They have timeouts. It doesn't matter where they catch the ball. Like, what are you doing? You had one of, if not the best defenses heading in the play. I don't know.
Jake, you know what I said? And people
bad.
thought I was crazy for this. With 13 seconds left and Mahomes, what I said was, don't even rush him. Don't even have a D-line.
No, he has to get the ball off quick.
Because then they go, exactly. Somebody goes, oh, well, then Mahomes will have all day. He has 13 seconds. Like, give him all day. Let him take time to find somebody open. Then he has one play. That's it, a Hail Mary. That is it. But instead, you rush the quarterback and you play a zone. I had flashbacks to Jonathan Gannon just playing off of these elite quarterbacks and letting them do whatever they want. But why wouldn't you jam Kelce and Tyreek at the line and play an umbrella coverage over top?
Because you're not their defensive coordinator?
I don't understand. It's kind of like, and I know we love to make fun of this, Dallas running the QB sneak. Like, what are these coaches telling these guys? What do we forget how much time is on the clock? Do we forget about timeouts? Do we forget who's on the other side of the ball? I don't get it. Look, amazing. One of the best weekends of football we've ever seen from a playoff perspective. But if I'm putting on my coaching hat and I'm a fan of the other team, good Lord.
Oh, it's something that is going to be talked about for years by their local sports broadcasters.
Yeah.
Like the 13 seconds, the cover 0, and possibly it's not going to be, but possibly Tom Brady's last season. And so many different the special teams blunders with Aaron Rodgers possibly last season in Green Bay. Like so many different things. Also, Green Bay's offensive coordinator heading over to Denver. Aaron Rodgers following him? Aaron Rodgers following him?
Possibly.
I don't know. We know he's not going to Philadelphia. So we know that. All right, weekend ahead. Quick little we got action. Not looking at the spreads. We're just looking money line. I understand that's not super exciting, but again, we're not a gambling podcast. We just have a gambling segment. Money line, Chiefs, Bengals. Obviously, you've got a huge plus 400 at least if you're taking Bengals money line. What are you looking at there?
I wanted Buffalo to win so bad last week because I wanted
so
the AFC representative to be a team that has never won the Super Bowl before.
100%.
I'm looking across the league. Rams have won one. Niners obviously have won one. Chiefs have won one. I want the Bengals to win the Super Bowl so bad because I want the underdog. I want the team that nobody talks about. How many years in a row did we talk about the Bungles and how bad of an organization that's been for the longest time and just never getting over the hump? This was their first playoff win since what, 91, I think?
Might have been is either 91 or 92.
Yeah, something like that. It's been forever since Mark McMillian was drafted. Okay.
Yeah.
It's been that long. So I'd love to, if you're feeling a little frisky, throw a little bit of money on that Bengals money line.
You're looking at plus 270 Bengals money line.
And look, I'll tell you this much. Put it on the over in that game. I don't care if the over is 500. Put it on the over.
Over
in that game right there.
4.5.
Going over, baby. I don't care. Go over. I don't
Go
care if the
over.
over 70. Go over. Bengals Chiefs.
Look, I know I said not going into the spread or anything. I'm pretty much tempted. I personally am a big alternative point spread guy. Some people are like, oh, that's the cheap way to do it. I like the alternative spread. You can kind of tease things a little bit, kind of get something you're a little bit more comfortable with. If I'm going to do that, I'm going to go ahead and take Bengals plus 3.5 at plus 160. I think I definitely think it's going to be a tight game. Bengals are going to keep it close. Obviously, now they're going to lose by 20. But if I'm looking at it, I'm probably going alternative spread plus 3.5 and getting in on some action with that. Maybe doing a little same game parlay action. Get some of that Jamar Chase over 5 receptions for the game. Really, really parlay it together. Over 5 receptions, over 70 yards. You're looking
hit
at
that in the first half.
Exactly. So now we're heading over to the late game. Niners and Rams. A lot closer spread than I would think. 3.5 Rams favorite. And obviously it's in LA. So with 3 points going to the home team, it's virtually a pick 'em. And look, I think it was more of the Rams shooting themselves in the foot, letting the Bucs get back into that game more than them actually not being a phenomenal team. So I'm going Rams all day in this game, and I don't think it's going to be that close.
Well, here's the thing. We got to see the injury status of Debo and Kittle because I know they both got banged up late in that game. If they're 100%, that makes a world of difference.
Oh, yeah.
I saw that Kyle Shanahan has beaten Sean McVay 6 times in a row now. 6 straight. That may play a little psychological game in McVay's head. And if you remember in the Super Bowl, McVay put up a solid 3 points the last time he was there. And he said that Belichick and Brady and the Patriots were in his head. He overprepared. So, look, I think 3.5 is right. I think it's just right. I get there's no half points in football, but I think that is just right. I mean, look, guys, if you are feeling frisky, like I said before, give yourself a Niners Bengals money line parlay. Put like $5 on it. Put like $5 or $10 on it. Don't go crazy, but parlay both of those money lines and just go nuts. We went one weekend where everybody on the road was winning, then another where everybody at home was winning. I mean, it's just wild. It's the NFL. It's crazy. You never know what's going to happen. So that's my prospective betting advice is to pick the underdog, parlay it, and throw $5 on it.
Again, we're not a gambling podcast. We're just podcasters that gamble. So
it's terrible advice.
We're not here to make your day, to make your wallet. And if you or a loved one have gambling problems, be sure to call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, Joe. Final thought, man.
My final thought, just like we used to do at the beginning of the year, Joel Embiid, MVP.
You took mine. My goodness. Final thought. 2022, James Harden's a Sixer. There it is.